Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server admin tutorial or bucket spigot plugin tutorial. If you're joining for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe button because I do these every week. If you have a suggestion of one you'd like me to do, feel free to comment that in the gibbles below and I will give you a shout out when I get around to it. If you find this video helpful, please leave a like because that helps me out for helping you out. And thank you so much for all the support watching these and liking and commenting. This is the third video of this plugin. I love Skyblock. It's a great little game type. You're a floating island. You got to use all the mechanics of Minecraft to survive and expand this island. It's great. Talabrek brought this into the plugin world and added like challenges and level systems so it matches islands together, which is really cool. But eventually it fell to the wayside and it didn't even get updated 1.8. And then he allowed Razorrax and Dutchy, who's a good friend of mine, to take this up and continue updating it. Not only did they update it to 1.8, but they've been adding and improving on it, which is really cool. They've added a trust system. They've expanded the party system a bit. They've added nether protections, which is really awesome. Different kinds, a whole lot of challenges, and you can modify all of this stuff. They've really kind of opened it up so that you can make this plugin what you want it to be, and the cost of it to you is free, which is my favorite price. Really, it is. These guys work hard, and they definitely get some love, or should get some love for this. Now, if you are running on 1.7, you can still use this plugin. You do need to use version 2.5.3. Also be using the 1.7 compatible World Edit, World Guard, Vault, Multiverse Core, Multiverse Portals, Nether Portals, all that stuff, which is really cool. Now, if you are up to date in the now and you're on 1.8, awesome. You need to use World Guard and World Edit 6. You need to use Vault 1.5 Plus, and then Multiverse 2.5, Multiverse Portals 2.5, and then Nether Portals 2.5. Link for all those will be in the gibbles, the description, as well as a link to this server that we're using for this tutorial, so you can just download it and get up and going. 98% of the time, if you run into problems with this plugin, it's because you don't have the right version. And if you ask for help, which you should, don't ask me, go to the page. They're going to ask you the exact version of everything. Don't just say it's the latest. Make sure that you tell them the versions, otherwise they're not really going to be able to help you. So let's get into how it works here a little bit. Oh geez, no, I don't want to start broadcasting. Okay, so what we want to do is you could do /island or just is, which is really cool. Everything has a really cool built-in GUI, which I've really always liked about this plugin. So you can just do create, or you could do is create to start your island. So it's getting your island ready. Basically what it's doing is it's carving out a section of the world and protecting it and putting your island there, which is really cool. And that's yours forever. Even when you restart and all that stuff, that spot is yours. So side note, before you have anybody create islands, it's important that you be sure you set protection limits, you set island sizes, all that stuff before you let anybody create islands. Otherwise it could get messed up afterwards. So then you could do is home. Now by default that's going to be your home. You can walk over to somewhere else and you could do is set home, and then you could do is home and it's going to teleport you right there. Like I said, there's a GUI that lets you do all of this stuff, which is really cool. We got our challenges list, can be accessed by just doing /c or /challenges, and you just hover over it. It's going to tell you what you have to do to get those. So that's the challenges. They can all be edited, which is really cool. You can add more of these. You can add pages to this stuff, which is really cool. As you can see, that's only one of two, so there will be another list on there. Then you could do is info. It's going to show you all the information about your island, which I believe is what these guys added. You could do is level, and you could see just your level of that, which is rank 1. You could see is top to see all the other ones. Now obviously there isn't any out there right now. You do is ban player, so that will stop anybody from coming to your island. However, it only blocks them from using that warp command. So you can, if you have your warp open, it won't let them come to your island, but it will kick them off, I believe. So if they use another teleport command to get there, it won't stop that. You could do is lock. So IS lock, and now nobody can teleport to your island, so we're going to unlock it again by just doing IS unlock. And then you could do IS set warp, so that's going to set the warp location if somebody wants to warp to your island. You could do IS toggle warp to turn that on and off, so we're going to enable that. And then you could do IS warp and then the username to warp to their island. Now he doesn't actually have an island set up, so we're not actually going to do that. Then you can also do IS invite the player name and invite them, so then they can do IS accept. Now if you join a party, it's going to teleport you to the teleport location, and it will remove your island, so you can only be in one party with one island. That's where this next command kind of comes into play. You can do IS trust and then the username, and then that will allow them to be able to edit stuff on your island without actually leaving their island or joining your party, which is, I love that feature. Another one that's really cool is you do IT and then start chatting, and then that will show up only for trusted members and party members on the island, in your island area. If they're somewhere else on the server, they won't see that. If they want them to see that and they're somewhere else on the server, you do PTK chat, and then that's the party chat across the whole server. That doesn't include trust members, so keep that in mind. Now, I talked a little bit that they had the Nether feature, which is really cool. You have a protected area of the Nether with this plugin. Keep in mind, we'll go over it more in detail when we get to the config file, because you have to be very careful about the distances that you set for that. And if you already have ran your server before this version and you're going to this version, I think it's before 5.2 is when they came out with the Nether version, I believe. I'll put it over the screen. And you're going to have to delete and back up your Skyworld Nether and have it recreate that. So you have to enable it in your config, restart your server, delete that folder, Skyworld_Nether, start it up. Be sure to keep watch of your console and make sure that it does not have any error codes, like you don't have the right version of Nether portals or something like that. And then it creates a region inside the Nether for each island, which is really cool. And then inside that area, you have automatic terraforming. When you remove a block, that has a certain chance for different blocks to come back in that spot, so you can kind of continually get items from the Nether, which is really neat. Now it works sideways but not up, so keep that in mind. So we're going to talk about permissions. Permissions are really cool in this. There's a lot of them. I'm just going to put them on the screen. There will be a link in the Gibbles for the permissions page. We're going to highlight a few of them. The first is this command called USB doc. Now what that does is it puts a text document in your uSkyblock folder, and that actually has all the commands, descriptions, and permissions in there, but you do need to read it with Notepad++. It will have some issues and not look right in Notepad, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you can go to the website and get all of that. I want to highlight the miscellaneous perm nodes. Those are not included on there. That would be like if you want them to use a specific schematic when they load up. So for like donors, if you want them to have an expanded party size, if you want them to have reduced hunger, all that stuff is in there, which is really cool. You can also add custom permissions, which we'll go over more in detail when we hit that part of the configuration. Now, there's a whole lot of permissions there. My suggestion is usb.island.star. That gives them access to all the basic island commands without the biome stuff or donor stuff. And then usb.party.star, basic party commands. And then usb.lock, so they can lock and unlock their island. And then usb.extra.add warp, so they can change warps and allow people to warp to their island, which is really kind of cool. So that's pretty much all to go over in the game. Let's jump over to the config file and take a look at that. All right, so here we are in our server folder. If you're on a host, be sure to contact them on how to access your server files. Usually it'll be FTP. Some of them have built-in file access, which is really cool. But you're going to go into plugins. You can see that Skyworld_Nether folder there. You're going to go into your plugins folder. Then you're going to open up your uSkyblock. You can see that this doc was created. And like I said, it has all the information on it, which is really neat. I love that feature that they added. So we're going to talk about the configuration, and I'm going to make a quick note about your schematics folder in here. This is where you can set up your custom schematics. Now, when you're making a custom schematic for this, you have to have, I believe, two things. You need a chest and a bedrock within 15 blocks of that chest. And then that allows the plugin to realize, oh, this is a valid island, and then it will incorporate that in there. So you're going to use World Edit to export the schematic, and then you're going to put it in here, and it should have that .schematic name. Look up my World Edit tutorial on how to do schematic stuff, or just find any other of them out there. So we're going to fire up the config file here. Now, there's a whole lot of information in here, and if you're missing the green lines or the pound sign, hashtag signs, or the comments, if you're missing those, you're running an old version of Skyblock, and you really need to update it, because that's why you're missing those things. So you could change your max party size in here, your cooldown info, your cooldown restart, that's island restart command, biome change cooldown, max spam. You could change your world name, so if you don't like it, Skyworld, keep in mind it's not going to migrate anything over if you change that. And then spawn size, you can actually set this to be 0. This is going to be the area right at the middle of your entire world that will not have anything in it. So if you have your spawn in a different world, then you could just remove this, and that doesn't even matter. Keep in mind, if you change your primary world to be Skyworld, you're going to run into problems, because Minecraft is going to take over world generation. You're going to have islands floating above flat land, so never make Skyworld or Ultimate Skyblock world being the spawn world of your server. So side note on that. So you can set the height at which islands will spawn at. You can set the distance between them, and then you can see that you can set the protection range. So with these being equal, this means there will be no neutral zone in between protected islands, and the distance will be from that bedrock spot to the next bedrock spot. And then your protection range will be, divided by 2, and then from that bedrock spot in all 4 directions. Now, for your nether to work properly, as it says, it has to be divisible by 32. So side note on that, if you want to make it bigger or smaller, it has to be divisible by 32 and come out with an even number. Here's how you could change to be a custom schematic name. If you want to change that, leave this .schematic out of that. You can remove creatures, teleport. This is all pretty self-explanatory. You got a teleport delay, PvP, island lock. You can enable, disable. Use old islands. So if you don't want that round one, you want the old school, the first Skyblock island type, you gotta set that to true, and then people will get that island when they start or restart. You could disable top 10. You can auto refresh the score, which will probably be good. And it's in minutes, so you want to change that. If you start seeing a performance increase, the iteration of that. Log size, spawn limits. You can change different kinds of spawn limits for animals, monsters, villagers. This is for like those islands that just get tons of animals. You can change that stuff, which is really cool. This is custom permissions here, so it has a few filled out, and these will add extra things to the chest when the user starts if they have USB dot whatever. So small bonus, medium bonus, large bonus, giant bonus. You could change the names of this, but keep in mind that the permission node will be USB dot whatever that is. I'll scroll back up to talk about the chest items. This is the items that you will start out with once you start, and it's going to be the item ID and then colon how many of that item. So keep in mind that like the color codes aren't really going to work in here, but that's how that goes. So some more extras: obsidian to lava, which is great if somebody accidentally turns their obsidian or their lava to obsidian. They can change it back with the bucket. There's a whole lot of extra protection things, which I love that they added over the old Skyblock version, this is awesome. You can stop people from killing your animals, all that stuff when they come to your island, which is great. They won't trample your crops or anything like that. You had to like pretty much encase everything in the old version so that if people came to your island, there's no way they could kill your stuff, but people would still find ways through walls and all that stuff. So now we got party timeout. That's at 5 minutes. If they don't respond, the invite will be no longer. You can change the chat format of those party messages, all that stuff in here. Advanced, use display names, I'll leave all that stuff. You can change what happens when they restart. So if you want them to not really carry stuff over and stop island farming, you can have them clear inventory on restart, all that stuff, which is really cool. You can turn off the enter and exit messages for World Guard. You can and then this is where you're going to enable the nether in here. You can change some of the height, the activate at, so they have to be level 100 before they can actually go to the nether. And then this P is the probability, and that's 50% that they'll get quartz ore if they're already mining quartz ore. Now this is the terraforming thing that we're talking about, and then you have different chances for how often the wither, skeleton, and blaze would spawn. And then your tool menu in there, which is pretty neat. So let's hop over, take a look at the challenges. That would be the next thing that we want to take a look at that you can edit. So we're going to go in here. Now you can just disable challenges altogether. Maybe you don't want them. You can put that on false if you'd like. Challenge sharing, so that if it's per player or per island, which is kind of cool. I like the island idea. That way if you have a party, they all can't just get the same challenge and get all the stuff. You know, that's pretty neat. You can change your broadcast text. I'm not really going to hit any of this. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then now we're getting into the layout of the GUI in here. You can change where they are. You got display item number 4. So display item is the item ID that is shown in the main GUI for that. Now you got the required items that would be in there. That would be the item ID colon and then the amount that you need. And then repeatable, you can set that true or false. Display item, reset every 12 hours. You can take, and then this will take the items out of the inventory. The type is on player. Pretty much you just want to look at what's already set up and then modify it to be what you want it to be. And now this one also has that probability modifier in it, so you have a 20% chance that you could get a book with that one, which is really cool. And then it's a different reward when you repeat it. And then there's your currency and XP that you get on that, currency and XP that you get on that. The permission one is really cool, so you can get people, if you're using like deluxe tags or something like that, people can get their own custom tags if you want, depending on the challenges that they completed. You would just put the permission node in here, and then if you can do multiple permission nodes, and if they complete that challenge, that is the permission node that they get. And if you just put a space, you can do multiple permission nodes that they can get from the single challenge, which is really neat. So you can have them have different ranks, you can have them get different kits, or whatever it is that you want, whatever permission node that you want them to get. Pretty cool, pretty self-explanatory. You're pretty much just going to look around, copy and paste, and then you got your challenge group 2 and all of that. This is a very long document, and then at the bottom is a lot of explanation of what's going on if you want to go more in depth of that challenges. So that's pretty much it for the configuration that we have to go over. Let's hop back into the game and wrap it all up. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for you. I know it was a bit long, but this plugin is huge. It's super customizable, and there's even some language stuff that you can do on it. I'll have a link in the Gibbles. Go ahead and check out the Bukkit page. If you run into problems, request help from there. They will ask you exact versions of stuff. They won't accept the latest version. You have to tell them actual numbers if you want help. But it should get up and go if you have all the right versions, and hopefully your server has a whole lot of fun. If you want to see this plugin in action, McFriends always has the latest version up and running going. I think we actually just have the Nether disabled for now, but everything else works. You can hop on play.mcfriends.us and check it out. Go /server to go, or /skyblock to teleport over to our Skyblock server. It's really cool. You can kind of just poke around and play with it before you actually go and put in the time to get it set up for your server. So this is Kaz reminding you guys all, enjoy the game. God bless. Oh, there's a turd that I totally missed. Oh, we just hopped right. Bunny hopped. We bunny hopped the ditch there. That was fun. Okay.